Hello people of the internet, and welcome to a new game. So, I understand that it's been a while since I last put out any videos. Just end of the new year stuff kind of took hold of me, got really busy in life, but I am back. New year, same old channel, maybe a little bit new, I don't really know. But regardless, I am playing a new game here. I'm going to go back to 2 games a week. 2 games a day. Bleh. Makes tongue-tying. It's been a while since I've done this. Anyways, this is an early access game and one that I have played a decent amount. It currently has no way to delete or reset in game or start any new files. So despite me trying to figure out how to do that for a while, I've been unable to do so. So we're going to start with me already having some fairly decent progress. But this is a roguelike game. So even though I have made some fair progress, there is still more to play. Every run through can be different. Some will be successes, some will be failures. I'm sure you're wondering what the game is by now. And if you read here, you could see it. But it is Slay the Spire, a deck-building roguelike game. Now, I did find this thanks to Northernlion, so I guess considering my other series, Darkest Dungeon, people might call me a bit of a copycat of them, but I do RPGs as well, and as soon as I finish Darkest Dungeon, I'll do another RPG. I'll go back to Kingdom Hearts. And Slay the Spire is being consistently updated, so, you know, this is one that I can keep playing. It's pretty much gonna be Isaac on this channel. Anyways, enough with my, well, not enough with my rambling. I'll show you guys my statistics just so you can see. I might have been a little bit modest with how much I played. Not really the greatest win-death ratio, I suppose. All these things mean different things as well. All of my achievements, done a fair amount, but again, there are more things to happen. I've also clearly played as this character more, which makes it kind of awkward because we're starting off as the Ironclad. The Ironclad, HP 80 out of 80, 99 gold to start with. The remaining soldier of the Ironclads sold his soul to harness demonic energies. Burning Blood is a relic, which is specific items that you can pick up that can enhance your run, that they start with, which is at the end of combat, heals 6 HP. There is a progression system where the more you ascend, the more experience you get towards the end, which unlocks things. I only have 1 unlock remaining for both of them, and this one is still unavailable in early access, so it is what it is. But let us embark on this journey I've already started. And apparently there is going to be another patch soon, so things might be different with the next run. But anyways, I don't remember what this whale's name is. I think it was told when you first start, but he always starts you asking another try, and if you manage to make it to a boss, you get to choose one of 3 boons. The boons are always different. In this case, it lets us choose a card, obtain 3 potions, lose half of our current health, but transform 2 cards, which pretty much transforms cards in your current deck into something else, or we can skip it. Speaking of our deck, the Ironclad and the other one, which is the Huntress, I believe, both start with different decks. This deck is a pretty basic offensive deck. Strikes along the line, a bit of defense, and a bash, which does some things that we'll get to when the time comes. But first, I'm going to choose a card to obtain. Okay, so whenever you get choosing a card, you have 3 choices of options, unless you get a specific relic, which gives you 4. These options we have presented are Flex, which gives us 2 strength, but at the end of the turn, we lose that strength. So it's kind of a temporary boost. It is also free. There is a bit of a it's energy system to this. Dual Wield, which copies an attack or power card in our hand. It's okay, not particularly great. Or Iron Wave, which gives us 5 block and deals 5 damage. It's the same amount of block as we currently have, but it also does damage. So I am going to take that, because as the Ironclad, I have found in my playthroughs that the best defense is a good offense. So now comes the roguelike, the bigger roguelike part of it. Right now there are 3, I guess, levels to it. Each level consists of various checkpoints that you go to that cause different things. Question marks can be combat or random events. The money bag symbol is a bit rare to find, but it is often merchants that sell cards. You can remove cards, you can buy potions, which are something I'll get to, as well as relics. Treasure chests generally contain relics. There's only one on each pathway to the boss. The campfires are rest points where you can either restore health or upgrade a card. We'll get to that a bit later as well. These are just basic enemies, which can sometimes not be so basic, and these are elites, which are harder enemies that after you beat them, you get a relic. But I like to go a unknown path, because they can tend to give some good rewards. So we will start here. This first guy is a thief. So, the thief, he has 45 health. This is an intent thing. You generally start with this. I think there's a specific relic that makes you lose it, but it allows you to see what your enemy intends to do. In this case, he intends to attack me for 10 damage. He also has a little effect or a power that will let him steal 15 gold whenever he hits me. So, we generally want to not let him hit me. This is our hand. As the Ironclad, you start with a 5-card hand. This is the energy. You only ever have 3. There are specific things that let you go beyond it, but we'll get to those as we get. So enough talking, I think. Let's actually get some gameplay here. So our starting hand consists of 2 defends, 2 strikes, and a bash. Now, as I said, I like playing very aggressive as the Ironclad here, mainly because you get constant healing at the end of combat, so we can afford to take 6 damage without really losing anything. For that reason, I'm going to lead off with a more energy-intensive bash, because it applies a status effect called Vulnerable. Vulnerable creatures take 50% more damage from attacks, and it's 2 vulnerable, which doesn't mean it applies it twice. Well, I mean, it does apply it twice, but it doesn't mean it takes 100% more damage. It just means that's how many turns it will last. So we'll bash, which means that, for example, if you take this and hover it over, you can see that the number changed from a 6 to a 9, indicating that we would do more damage. However, we're not going to do that right now, because I don't want to take 10 points of damage. I'm fine with taking just 5. Plus, this thief guy here does have a little specific thing that he tends to do after so long. Next round of combat, we have the Iron Wave, which we've already gone over. It'll give us block as well as deal damage. 7 damage as well. And we fully neutralize any damage we get with block, which is pretty much a temporary shield, and deal a little bit more damage to him. His vulnerability will end on this turn though, so we won't be able to do that much longer. And he's actually not running away just yet like he normally would. Huh. So I have the choice here of bashing him to apply the vulnerable, but then I'll take 7 damage and I'll be down 6 at the end of the combat. That's not terrible, I suppose. Or I can do 2 blocks and a simple strike, be down 2 damage here, which equals out to 7 damage total, which means by the end of combat, I'll be down 1. 1 and 6 is not too different, so I'm going to just straight up bash and defend. Because I also want to get him to do his special little trick. Okay, here we go. So this is his next intent. He intends to block, which means he will gain some defenses. I'm going to just do a basic strike. I'm going to leave him alive here because he does one other thing. And when they block, they generally gain different amounts of blocks. He, example, gains 6 block. Bit more potent than our block, but still fine. So he has the thing Cowardly. He intends to escape. So if he escapes, he will take all the gold we lost. And you generally get gold for beating enemies, so you'll lose out on that as well. Excuse me. So, we don't want him to leave. We will bash him. He has 2 health left. Either of these attacks will do it. Let's just Iron Wave for the fancies factor. And there we go. We get the 45 gold he stole, an additional 17 gold that he had on him, and at the end of every combat, you get to add a card to your deck. And what do you know? We get Flex, which we passed up on in the beginning. Now, deck management is something important. You don't want to get too big of a deck because then you don't see as much as you want, but a decent sized deck, probably 15 cards or so, is fairly good. So, we went to a mystery here, which is a living wall. As you come upon a dead end and begin to turn around, walls slam down from the ceiling, trapping you. 3 faces materialize from the walls and speak. Forget what you know and I'll let you go. I require a change to see a new space. If you want to pass me, then you must grow. So, this is a random event that can happen. It's giving us 3 beneficial things, which isn't always happening. We can forget to remove a card in our deck, change to transform a card in our deck, or grow to upgrade a card in our deck. I like to go the upgrade path because you can upgrade your cards to be more effective. For example, if we were to upgrade Flex, it would give us a 4 strength boost, and strength pretty much gives an additional plus that to your current damage, so that's not bad. If we do Iron Wave, gives us about equal damage to what we do with a Strike, and a little bit better block. Or we could do Bash, which deals more damage and applies a bit more vulnerability. I like Iron Wave. I think Iron Wave is the better of the options, because we want to be balanced with our offense and defense in so much as we're not really going to be doing much defense outside of Iron Wave probably. But I'll get to that later. So, this guy is a cultist, bit more health, and he's strategic. He plans to apply a buff to himself. I know what the buff is, but you don't, so I'm just gonna, well, I kind of have to let it go through, but he did a ritual, and now he intends to attack for 6. His ritual is, at the end of his turn, he gains 3 strength. That means that every turn, his strength is going to go up by 3, which means his attack power is going to go up by 3, which is not something you generally can survive if you let it go for too long. Luckily, we got Flex right off the bat, which applied 2 strength, and the Flex status, which at the end of the turn we lose 2 strength. And then, see, Strike is normally a 6, it is now an 8, and because he is vulnerable, we hit him for 12. And then, we have leftover energy, let's just block his attack. So, I'm sure you have noticed that our discard pile is shuffled into our draw pile, or you will notice as of now. So basically, that's what happens when you run out of cards to draw. It'll search your discard pile and take any cards that you've played this turn, this game, this battle, and shuffle them back into your deck randomly. Let's Flex again, make us real buff. So we can deal 16 damage between the 2 strikes, or we can do 10 damage from the bash, and thanks to the vulnerable, kill him. Yay! He dropped for us a potion. So potions have that little slot up there. You can use them during combat to gain bonuses or hinder your enemies. In this case, we got a weak potion, which is a debuff to our enemy, which applies 3 weak. And we will get to that when we actually use it. And then we get to choose another card. I generally only like having 1 Flex, so I'm not going to take that. Havoc gives you a ability... Oh, it lets you play the card on top of your draw pile, but it does also exhaust the card. Now, if you exhaust a card, that just means that you can't play it again for the rest of this battle. It's removed from your deck, it doesn't get shuffled in, it's gone. So, it's potential risk, but potential reward. Or Clash, which can only be played if every card in your hand is an attack. And it deals 14 damage, and it's free. It's pretty good. I'm taking Clash. But we will move on to our next enemy, the Slaver. He is just planning on attacking us, so I'm going to block him a bit and strike. Because he also intends to apply a negative effect. In this case, weakened. Kinda didn't want me to be the one to experience this, but I suppose we have to. But the weakened debuff. Your attacks deal 25% less damage. Now that can be a little bit annoying, but we should be able to mitigate that. We can lead with the bash, which will apply the vulnerable to him, and thanks to the strength, it's kind of lessened. And then we can clash and deal 18. He is nearly dead. He is going to apply weak on us again, And if you apply the same status effect, it will stack, so we're not rid of it just yet. But luckily, we got a good hand here, and can kill him. Little damage, but nothing major. Alright, so we can exhaust all non-attack cards in our hand to deal 16. It's also replayable. We could Whirlwind, which spends all of our energy and deals 5 damage to all the enemies that many number of times. Good if you have a high energy deck. Or we can gain 7 block, but exhaust a random card in our hand. That's risky. All these, quite frankly, are either too expensive, too not as good, because we can deal 15 damage easier another way, or just too bad, because 7 block and exhausting is bad. So we're going to skip. You can skip, you don't need to take all of the cards you get offered. And even though we went to another mystery, you notice that we are fighting another enemy. That does happen, unfortunately, but it's nothing we can't hurt. So these are Fungus Beasts. They are aggressive, and they have the power that on death, they will apply vulnerable to us for 2 turns, which means we will be taking more damage if we're not careful in killing them. So, hit him, slice, and dice. I know, we're not being careful here. We are going to take 2 damage here, but it's at 8 health. I'm confident that we can kill it next turn. And if we can't, then, well, I've got, what's the word? Something on my nose, I don't remember the exact word. But we have 8 damage straight in the bash. So, we kill it. No real damage dealt to us. And as for cards here, I did say the best offense is the best defense is a good offense, but Thunderclap is a good way to deal damage to multiple enemies and deal further damage later on. So I am taking that. And then we come to the campfire, which I mentioned before. You can either rest at it, it heals you for 30% of your health, or you can smith, which upgrades a card in your deck. I have already upgraded a card, so I'm not going to have to go over that. And I will upgrade Thunderclap, because more damage, that's pretty much a better strike right now. This mystery has for us a strange humanoid with a golden helm, a strange blue humanoid, my mistake, with a golden helm, question mark, approaches you with a huge smile. Hello, friend, I am Cleric. Are you interested in my services? The creature shouts loudly. So, he can either heal us for 35 gold, healing us 20. We don't really need healing. Or for 50 gold, he can remove a card from your deck, which is something I am very interested in taking, because we have a few useless defends in here. Okay, so we remove the defend. A cold blue flame envelops your body and dissipates. The creature grins. Cleric talented. Have a good day. And he's gone. So now we are up against our first elite of the run. And it is the Gremlin Knob. So he intends to apply a buff this turn. I know what said buff is, and I am not happy about him applying this buff. But there's not much we can do, other than grit our teeth and bear it. He is luckily vulnerable, but he is now enraged, and he is going to deal 14 damage base, so you might want to block this. However, whenever you play a skill, he will gain 2 strength, which means that damage will go up by 2. Kind of not too good. So, our best defense, a good offense. We are going to go straight face on him. He will deal 14 to us, which means, if we don't get lethal on him next round, it's going to be up to 28, which is quite dangerous. But, yeah, it applies to even skills, so I'm doing this because I think I should have lethal, and I do. Clash is excellent, and we have just enough energy to finish him off. Heals us up to 72, and because he was an elite, he gave us a relic upon defeat. Relics, as I said before, are little buffs that you can gain. They go up here that apply to different things. In this case, we got Molten Egg. Upon pickup, choose and upgrade an attack. That's quite nice. So I'm going to upgrade Bash so that it can be more vulnerable applications. Then we also get a Strength Potion, nice and good, and we get another Iron Wave. Nice. I will be taking that kindly. And then we get our first treasure. Yarg. The treasure chest contains a relic for us, as well as some gold. The Mercury Hourglass. At the start of each of your turn, deal 3 damage to all enemies. That's a pretty good relic for reasons that, well, we applied vulnerable. I'm pretty sure you can see where this is going. But we have an option of paths here. We can take this path, which will lead us to an unknown, and then this guy, and then a bonfire, and then further. Or we can take this path, which is an immediate unknown, and an eventual merchant. We have enough gold that I think visiting the merchant is a wise thing to do. Okay, so you enter a corridor full of hypnotizing colored mushrooms. Dude, excuse me, I'm also fighting off a bit of a cold. Due to your lack of specialization in mycology, you are unable to identify the specimens. You want to escape, but feel oddly compelled to eat a mushroom. So you can either stomp and anger the mushrooms, which will obviously result in combat, or you can eat, restoring 20 HP, but you become cursed with a parasite. Now, curses are specific cards that end up in your deck. Some of them are just unplayable. Well, all curses are unplayable, but some of them have negative effects. I would show what a curse does, but I don't like parasite as far as curses go, so I'm going to stomp and anger the mushrooms. Ambushed. Rodents infested by the mushrooms appear out of nowhere. So, they all have the Spore Cloud buff. They all get hit for 3, and this one intends to buff during his turn. So we are going to start with a flex. Get nice and big and swole, and then we can kill one of them straight off. However, I'm not going to kill one of them. I'm instead going to distribute the damage a little bit and tank 12 points. It's gonna hurt, but it's worth it. Believe you and me. Believe me. That was weird. Why believe you and me? Yeah. But he grew, which means he gained 3 strength. So he's gonna hit me quite a bit harder. We're gonna lead with a defend, and then we are going to think carefully here. So we can actually kill this guy this turn. We can actually kill both of them this turn. So let's kill you first, and then kill you so that we don't have to worry about any damage. We are vulnerable for 4, which will be bad, especially given that he grew. But we have 8 points of damage capable, so we can kill him now. So all said, no real harm, and because we fought and didn't eat, we also got ourselves a relic. When vulnerable, you only take 25% damage rather than 50, which is very nice. And we get a card. Double tap isn't bad as far as skills go. It makes your next attack apply twice. I will take that. And then, basic combat is basic. These guys have the curl up buff, and they are called louses. Pretty much with curl up, when they take damage, they will roll up and gain 4 block, which will kind of suck, but we luckily have an AoE attack to start with. And only one of them intends to attack them anyways, so, you know, we kill him. And that's going to be our turn. And something about block is that as soon as your turn is done, unless you have specific things, the block is over. And they just spat web, which weakened me a little bit, but that's not terrible. Especially with Mercurial Hourglass instantly killing, and we have enough offense in our deck. And we get another strength potion. Of these, Sentinel gain block. If it's exhausted, you gain 2 energy. There are certain exhaust decks that play off that, but I don't have one. Sword Boomerang, 3 damage to a random enemy 3 times. 9 for 1 is not good because it's random, and dual wield, we got double tap, which is a better version of it. So now, we're headed to the shop. We got some purchases to do from mysterious crystal ball head person. Anyways, so, at the shop, you can either remove a card, or you can get relics. Or, obviously, more cards. We already have Thunderclap. Feed is a nice one. It's only once per battle, but it deals 10 damage, and if you kill the enemy, you gain 3 permanently. That's pretty good, but it's not really for this deck. Double Tap, we've already explained. Havoc, we've already explained. Barricade, block no longer expires at the start of your turn. There are some pretty block heavy decks, but I don't have one of those. Mind Blast, deal damage equal to the number of cards in your draw pile. Good for big decks, but we're not going for that. Transmutation transforms your hand, but then this is gone. Not too good. We can get Self-Forming Clay as a relic, which when we lose HP, we gain 3 block the next turn. The Matryoshka, the next 2 chests you open, contains 2 relics, excluding the boss chests. It's nice if you can survive, but it's very expensive. Or the Letter Opener, every time you place 3 skills in a single turn, deal 5 damage to all enemies. Meh, because I'm not running a too heavy skill deck. So, I'm going to instead take the final option, Card Removal Service. Remove a card from your deck, this service increases by 25 for the rest of the run. And we're going to get rid of a useless Defend, because we have Iron Wave. And then, because we can't purchase anything else worthwhile, we'll leave and move forwards. And even though I'm not at full health, I'm still going to Smith and upgrade Double Tap, which make it this turn the next 2 attacks you play are played twice. That can get really freaking awesome. And we are up against another Slaver. Alright. Start with the Thunder. Go to that. And I'm gonna stop I'm not gonna stop commentating completely about the game, but I'm going to focus more on the gameplay aspect of it than just talking. Bash it good, and that's game, set, match. And we get some options here. So, Perfected Strike is new, deals 6 damage, deals an additional +2 for all of your cards containing the words Strike in it, or Pummel, deal 2 damage 4 times. Perfected Strike, honestly, it's not too good. You can lose your strikes through a variety of methods, and at that point, this is just a 2 cost for 6. It's not good. Pummel, it's good for certain types of enemies, but it's only a one-time use, so I'm not going to take any cards here. We're going to go to the campfire, and I'm actually going to go into the boss fight with a little less than full health, upgrade Iron Wave to Iron Wave Plus, and proceed to the boss. And our boss is the Slime Boss. He intends to inflict a negative status effect on us and attack for 9. That's gonna hurt. But he is also going to split, which means when his health is below 50%, he splits into 2 smaller slimes with Slime Boss's current health. So, we're gonna start by drinking our strength potions, so we'll be strong, as well as throwing our weakened potion. So now he only deals 6. We will start with our Double Tap Plus, and then Thunderclap twice, and it's going to hurt us a little bit, but I'm going to straight up attack him twice for 30, and he is already almost halfway dead. Goop Spray. Yuck. And his negative status effect was draw reduction, which means I draw 1 less card for 2 turns. Kind of meh. He has Unknown Intentions, so we will flex, defend, so that we can utilize Clash, and then Slash. And, as you see, we interrupted him, which means we stopped him from doing his previous thing. If you remember, he has the split thing, which means I'm pretty sure you can guess what he's about to do. Split! And the Slime Boss is no more, and there's now Spike Slime L and Acid Slime L. Acid Slime L is going to be attacking. Spike Slime is going to be applying up debuff. But, luckily, we have some defense and enough offense to kill him already. So, only 1 remains. They also do have the split thing. He lit and applied Frail. Frail is a new status condition for us, so I'll go over it real quick. Frail means you gain 25% less block from cards for 2 turns. kind of bad, but really, it doesn't matter. Because we won! Oh yeah. So you get some loot, you get an explosive potion, deals 10 damage to all enemies. Kind of meh as far as potions go. And you might notice, a golden card. This is always guaranteed to be rare. And the rare cards, you've seen some of them in the shops, but they can be pretty good. We have Immolate, exhaust one card. If the chosen card was a status, which can be inflicted upon you as far as card draws, it's pretty much a once per battle curse, or curse, deal 10 damage to all enemies. Kind of dependent on your deck. Bludgeon, which is a 3 cost, deal 32 damage, so 3 cost for a lot of beating. Pretty good. Or my personal choice here, Reaper. 2 costs, but deals 4 damage to all enemies, and you heal for unblocked damage. It is going after that, but still, it's a good choice to take. And then, you also get a special boss chest, which has different relics in it. 1 of 3 is your choice. We have Pandora's Box, which transforms all of your strikes into fens. Remember when I said you could lose your strikes? The Ori, which you choose and add 5 cards to your deck, or the Eternal Feather. For every 5 cards in your deck, heal 2 HP automatically when you enter a campfire. To be honest here, I'm kind of happy with our current deck size of 15. If we could drop the defense, I'd be happy about it, so Ori isn't good. Losing our strikes for potential randomness isn't too good, so I'm going to take the lesser of all evils in the Eternal Feather. And that is going to be where I'm going to call this episode. So yes, pretty much each episode is going to be one stage / level, whatever you want to call it, or one run in the case I die. Maybe 2 if I die early enough. But I'm calling this here. Hope you will enjoy this series. I will probably record enough for the rest of the week, so 3 episodes or so. Or maybe just finish off this run and see if there's any feedback. If there's no feedback, then no feedback's good feedback. I'll keep going. If there's negative feedback, I'll stop. If there's positive feedback, I'll definitely keep going. But for now, I've been Soulrack Dragon. I hope that you've enjoyed this video. If you have, leave me some feedback in the form of a like or a comment. If you guys want to check out more videos by me, be sure to check out my channel below. And if you like what you see, drop me a subscription. Outside of all that, I will see you all in the next video. Have a fantastic day, everybody.